Walter, first of all, thank you very much for coming. I know that your headquarters are in Warsaw, so probably we should start with just asking how are you guys doing with the big water coming through. I hope everything is okay. If you're here, then you didn't get into trouble.
Situation is improving, luckily. So our head office is in Wrocław. So 1997, there was a tremendous flooding. But luckily, if I see the evolution which has taken place over the past 20 years, they managed well. They managed well. So people are safe and getting better, yeah.
Okay, perfect. I think almost everyone knows Selena, so I think I can just say a few words, but would be perfect if you can introduce yourself more, saying what are you responsible for at Selena, because I think this will be a good intro for our next discussions and questions.
So I'm from Holland, the Netherlands, and since mid of February in Poland, Wrocław, living and working. I work for Selena. We are a company in construction materials. In normal words, that is sealants, PU foams and adhesives under the brands Titan or Titan. I joined Selena in the management board as of February this year. I'm Chief Commercial Officer, which means I look after all the commercial affairs we have, which we do across 20 countries globally, and we sell to more than 75 countries. So a lot of different footprints, a lot of different markets to look after. We do that with 1,800 people day in, day out. And the channels we operate are traditional trade, PSB Maruvka, modern trade, Leroy Merlin, direct channel where we have applicators directly working with our products, industry, woodworking, and of course e-commerce, which is at growing interest also within Selena. I've always been in this industry, either the channels or the markets. Prior to Selena, I worked for Coram, a European designer and manufacturer and distributor of bathroom accessories and shower enclosures. And prior to that, I had a long time history within Henkel, the adhesives part, same type of products, but also again on a global scale, including living in different countries like the UK, Turkey, but also in China. And today I'm here.
Okay, perfect. I have a surprise for you, because preparing for our discussion, I did some research on the internet and I found some old pictures. You know that internet never forgets anything. So let me switch those pictures. Those are the pictures, at least as I could find from one of the conference. But what's important was the title of the slides that you had, which was Industry 4.0. I think those are quite old pictures, just looking at you and looking at time. So can we start with this, especially with this Industry 4.0, if you can say what we have on those pictures and how it relates to all the transformation and the buzzwords of Industry 4.0.
Good research and a nice flashback, to be honest. Very nice flashback. This is 2016, 8 years ago. 8 years ago in Istanbul. I was asked to hold a presentation for the Istanbul Technical University, a big conference where young students were to also explain them on developments on digitalization. And you say they look quite old, but you know, in life 8 years is nothing. In digital life 8 years is a lot. That is absolutely. And at that time, we spoke about Industry 4.0. And it was relating to Industry 1.0, which was the first, let's say, mechanical automation, steam engines, the big first wave. Then came Industry 2.0, which was more on industrialization, so mass production. Then we had Industry 3.0, which was smart automation, so the computers and all that stuff which came, and then we entered into 4.0, saying, okay, now things are happening. We don't know what, but there's a lot of movement, and that becomes then smart automation. And a nice word used was we enter into the Internet of Things. So there were a lot of things present, but they were not connected. And we spoke then about let the machine talks. and I already used the word artificial intelligence 8 years ago, and look where we are today. So a lot has luckily evolved from that, and quite some predictions were present then. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I have a question, because looking at all this history, looking 8 years exactly, it's like almost not so much in our life, but if you look at what's going on with the industry, it's a huge thing. You have a great experience of working for Henkel, other distribution companies, as well as Selena. With some period of time you were in China. Looking from that perspective and that experiences, what are like key factors why some of the companies are able to go through this transformation, let's say, smoothly, and they have big successes, and we see how great they adapt, and there are some other companies or some other organizations that have so many challenges to change their behavior, to adopt to the transformation.
I look at it from, if you look at an organization, historically you can always easily say, okay, that's typically an HR job. And that's typically a job of accounting. So we have quite specified responsibilities within organizations. And now when it comes to digitalization, it's the job of everyone. And I think that's often underestimated. People say, okay, yeah, we hire a firm and they will do it for us. And it doesn't work like that. It's an entire organization which needs to be involved in such. So I take 3 layers in that. One is for me, and I come back to the word Industry 4.0, leverage Industry 4.0, meaning have your processes, your software, and the connection between those disciplines in place. Do good research where you stand as a company. Sometimes your administration is very well organized, but your connection to your logistical provider is missing. So identify those gaps and work on that. Then alongside, transform the organization with you. Also looking here, it's a diverse audience. We have different ages, so we have different starting points with digitalization. Some people are always pioneers, you have early adapters, and some simply say, well, I'll wait and see. And as a company, you have an obligation to see that you can take everyone along with that and develop them. It's like if you look at kindergarten or school, and you have the teacher walking in front of the chain of kids, and then at the back you have the other teacher. It's in that way you want to take the entire organization in the progression. And if you have that in place, if that goes hand in hand, then you come to the point and say, okay, where can we actually push on developing our e-commerce business? B2B, B2C, where does it make sense to play? Because also that is a question. Everyone tries sometimes to jump into 10 things at the same time, but search for the online opportunities which fit your type of business and target group as best as possible.
You're absolutely right. The whole organization needs to change. And what about the high level? Because sometimes you can see that even high level, C-level people, they had a kind of like resistance, quite often saying, hey, we've been doing this business for 30 years, 40 years. Maybe not so common in Poland, but in the other countries, they don't really feel the necessity of doing this because they were successful for so many years going this direction. Have you faced it, or have you seen this? What would be your advice to work and discuss, let's say, with C-level, sometimes with the investors or shareholders, to convince them that this transformation is necessary?
It's very common behavior. You have very situations where the owner built a company and is still managing the company, but he did not grow up, or she did not grow up with digital tools. If I look at myself, I was 20 when I got the first time a computer. And if I think back to that time, it was huge. I think it had 20 MB hard disk, and it used floppies.
Was it Atari or Commodore?
It was Compaq. Yeah, really, Compaq. But that was my starting point, which is different than my children, who basically grew up. They don't know differently. So, and it's the same in companies. Either you're interested to develop or not. So then if you are managing a company and this is a big subject, either you need to spend time in keeping up with practices, informing yourself, but also allowing then to have people in your organization that you say, okay, I can rely on your opinion because we need to move into that direction. So delegate part of the responsibility and authority in order to make that movement. Otherwise, you can look around in your own industry and see that certain companies are falling short. Yeah. Bankruptcy, that kind of issues. So it's happening, and you need to move. Yeah.
Exactly. So more, let's say, a private question. So how does it go with Selena? How you guys manage to go through this transformation? What kind of challenges do you have? Because you have also very specific, let's say, position. You are more a producer. Yeah, you work directly with B2B, as you mentioned, yeah, with different stakeholders. So how this transformation goes with Selena? What kind of challenges you have?
It's ongoing, because I also don't think that this will ever stop. With new developments, with new technology, it's an ongoing process, and we're still in the middle. Selena is still a young company. We were founded 32 years ago, and part of our growth comes from acquisitions. And if you buy something, there's a different DNA, which is different in software, in systems, in methodologies. So we're still, on one hand, if I come back to the leverage 4.0, implementing ERP systems across our companies to have every company connected, which helps on exchange of information. But also, when I came in, I said, let's first pause for a moment to see what we are actually doing everywhere. Because we had in different countries initiatives. There is always an opinion within a marketing team or within a product team that we should go into certain direction. And I said, let's first make a good overview. What are we doing? Where do we have gaps? And where actually do we have a good situation? And that is, for every company, is different, because you grow from somewhere, and from the initiatives taken in the past, some things worked out well, that you need to cherish that. What I discovered within Selena is that we are on customer portals already quite advanced, but it was not visible in the company. So by really going through and say, hey, what kind of things do we have? Can we use that better? Then you have already something good inside, which you can leverage and which we are leveraging. And also say, we are doing good developments on e-commerce with Cineo, Allegro. Let's learn from that first. Make that better, because that is, again, a different dynamic and environment, before we then step into new online players or potentially open new direct business portals.
Okay. And do you see this type of resistance from, let's say, existing distribution teams or your own guys internally, that they're more into, okay, let's do it as we've been doing this before, and focus more on that instead of try something new and go with some new options?
It is again, as I say, to take the entire organization along. If you have salespeople who have been working for a long time in traditional retail, they're used to visit the stores, to be in touch, to give recommendation, which has an absolute value, but we can simplify and automate that. And some people embrace that, and some say, I've been doing it like this for a long time. What's the benefit? And that's a fair question. So you need to show them the benefit, that it's not scary, that they don't need to be afraid, that it's not taking away the job, because that in the past was one of the key things. But that is actually creating a new opportunity, that you can save time, have a different way of communication and exchange of information with your customers, and that information which they collect goes directly into our organization. Because what you want to achieve is the end-to-end integration from what happens in the front at the customer and the demand they have, which is ideally automatically translated to your own production facility and everything which is in the middle.
Yeah. And looking also at this whole process of digitalization that is changing, or that the customer behavior is forcing it and changing the way the products are distributed, we see more and more companies who are trying to do, or who are doing direct-to-customer distribution. Yeah, we have example of Tesla or Apple. They try to sell directly to the customer on their website with their sales channel. From your perspective and your experiences looking at your business, do you think that you will finish at some point in 20, 30 years, or even maybe longer, with this thing that you will also do direct distribution to the customers, or you will still depend on your local distributors?
We have one, we call it B2B portal, where we sell directly to applicators. So those are users of our products. Which is evolving nicely, and we are, call it, ramping up to see how it will further develop, to learn from it, and not immediately say now we open a second, a third, and a fourth. From my experience, and that's especially with B2B and also B2C business, you need to understand what is necessary behind it to arrange it. We've seen, especially in Corona time, a lot of companies, opportunist companies who stood up and said, okay, we go online and we sell some business. The front was looking very nice, but the back end was completely not organized. And how do you do your automatic invoicing, your track and trace, your drop shipment? Then suddenly you have return management to look after. And all of these things are different than if you have, call it, a regular distribution company. So it's evolving, but yeah, always make the right choice. Are you ready? What is still necessary to organize to step into something?
Okay. Yeah. Okay, but looking for a very long-term perspective, do you think that our behaviors could change this way? That your installers or guys who are using your products, they would go and prefer to buy directly from you rather than from the distributor? I can tell you there are some guys who are distributing your products here on the in the room, so be careful.
You know, it's in the end we go where the end user goes. We are clearly targeting the end user, and there are different channels to serve the end user. And we will use those channels in the best possible way. So we don't have a preference. We're very grateful to our current customers, and we try every opportunity to develop with them. But in the end, an end user or consumer will determine where he or she will go. And you know, even looking at myself, I had last weekend, my daughter needed a table. A dining table. She just moved, so you have those things, and then she calls her dad. So we FaceTimed about a dining table. We went online, and the content was very nicely. It worked, and we said, okay, looks nice, and the measurements are great. Then she asked me if I would pay, because that's always how it works. So, exactly. so I paid, and then you see how it starts working. So I pay, I get immediately the invoice, I get immediately the shipping bill, I got immediately a notification from the distribution company that I could pick the right moment of delivery, and tomorrow it's being delivered. And knowing what's behind it, because it looks so simple, we as a human always say, oh, no, there's a lot behind it which is all connected, and it works perfectly. And this is an example in a traditional environment, because furniture in general is quite traditional market. So it's very interesting to see that also in these areas these developments take place, and then the question is, yeah, how far will it go? But it's still progressing. Yeah. Yeah.
I have a question also to understand what you think about it. We have a big revolution if you look at B2C, what's going on with so-called like Chinese marketplaces, yeah, that really managed to enter the market with very aggressive promotion, with a great product offer, with, let's say, good logistics, yeah, considering that the products are being shipped from China. They definitely found a great opportunity, yeah, on the European and the world market. Do you think that Polish B2B companies have some opportunities to use this digitalization process? And as it was mentioned on the before's panel, which was in Polish, so I don't know if you catch up this year. We are way more, let's say, advanced if you look at approach to how fast we adopt the changes. On our side here, we have a business in Germany, and I was totally surprised here looking how classic still the German B2B market is here, that if you don't have fax, then you cannot consider being a real company. If you look at Poland, I don't think we have anyone using fax anymore here. Do you think that Poland as a country, or Polish B2B distributors, producers, if they do this transformation quickly, if they will be bold enough and brave enough to go on the European markets that are transforming, let's say, slower, we can do this type of activities like Chinese did on the European market in the B2C?
You're touching on some geographies: Germany, Poland, and China. Well, it's good. It's good examples. Also, as I lived in 2010, 2011, 12 in China. And it is very interesting to see that they then were talking about Weibo and Taobao, and how that has evolved now to WeChat. Impressive. I'm not so much impressed by Temu and Shein, because I don't find it a sustainable business model.
Of course.
They use tax benefits, they take governmental postage benefits, and they try to find every maze in the legislation to do their business. So yeah, they do something, but that's not my benchmark. As I said, what WeChat and Taobao in China are doing, that is big, because they went from the traditional retail development where everyone was thinking, okay, they will now go into consolidation, etc. They did the leapfrog immediately into e-commerce. So that is an example to look at. I think that's also showing the barriers we have in Europe in general. Although e-commerce doesn't have borders, governments have. So there's still limitations. You know, you have Amazon in Poland, you have Amazon in France, you have it in Italy. So they're all separate companies in Europe, which is not creating scale. If I look at Poland, some of my personal observations and some of the statistics, if I look at the level of software IT developers in Poland, it's great. I mean, Poland in that area is really front runner in this region, so there's a lot of skills and capabilities present here. The only thing I also see is that a lot of those talents are used for outsourcing. So actually, other countries are using the talents in this country to develop their tools, software, and programs they have. And I think if Poland is able to convert that and to use those talents much stronger in development of own things, you know, some countries develop payment systems, other countries develop logistical systems, and by doing that you can grow in a certain part of business or grow along with the big companies. And that is I think the missing link here still, to find the right partners to start own developments, which will then help you to do business across other countries.
Yeah, absolutely true. I mean, I fully agree about the Temu as not sustainable thing. My idea is more to show that being aggressive and bold allows you to be disruptive and find some new ways of making distribution. But as we talk about this Poland, Germany, China, how do you see then your digitalization on the different market? Is there a big difference on Selena, the way you do business, let's say using digital tools and some platforms on different markets? Also, you try to adopt to the, let's say, level of the digitalization on the specific market?
What we are, because geographies is already something, so as I said, we need to learn also where we can develop, and not step into 20 countries at the same time. Poland is for us our home market and is a very prominent market, and we have good resources here. So this is clearly one area to learn from and to develop. We also do that in the US. because then you enter into a completely different market environment, different scale and different developments. So different programs there to develop, and one in progress is Spain. So that we spread our geographies to learn from different market dynamics and situations of maturity.
Great. We still have 2-3 minutes left for the questions. So if anyone has a question to ask, then feel free.
I will take a mic, and you finish a bit earlier. I have a question for you, but if someone have a question, there's no question.
Hello, it was nice to hear, Walter. You mentioned WeChat and China. And to me is something amazing how this gamification is going, because WeChat belongs to Tencent. Tencent bought some shares in Walmart. Walmart signed agreement with Unity, and Apple as well signed agreement with Unity. Do you see trend of gamification of commerce? Because it was quite clear announced by Walmart that they are signing this contract with Unity to go with commerce, with their sales into gaming industry. How strong do you think this trend can be in the future? This Chinese example of revolution of WeChat you mentioned, to me is the sign that it won't be evolution in B2B as well.
That's an interesting connection you make there. You know, if we all had a glass ball, it would be easy to answer. I do not have. No, you cannot. Yeah. What it shows is that you know, I was standing there 8 years ago, and a lot has happened. The development goes faster than governments and legislation, or let's say market regulating can follow. And exactly what you describe is coming from that, and it might go further than that, because the possibilities are there. Where it ends up, I don't know. But everyone is looking for moving forward in this and becoming more efficient in their portals. Yeah, but it's a challenging development. Absolutely. Yeah.
Patrzę, czy ktoś jeszcze ma jakieś pytania? Walter, you will stay with us today?
I will leave. I have other appointments, but I'm happy to see so many people here. And Anja of our company is staying with you the rest of the day, so we'll be well presented.
So rest questions in the table with coffee to Anja. Yeah. Okay. I have one question, because you say about the back end and front end, and you say about that. Oh, this impressive that the table just came to you on the direct hour. From your perspective, the let's say more important are the processes on the backs or the things on the front in B2B sector? When you want to implement, or you want to start thinking about implementation?
It is absolutely both, because you know, I could not imagine that 8 years ago I would buy a table online. You know, we started with travels. We started with, so there's an evolution. How much you will buy online? The question is, how far does it go? Or do you want it to go? Because still you want to have a certain level of inspiration. So to which extent can the front offer you sufficient inspiration that you are convinced that you will buy it? And I hope that we don't go to 100% online, because still some part of shopping experience is nice to have. But that will be that's the balance to be found out. And you touched on Tesla, and now following the news in Germany, coming back to that geography, with Volkswagen and Mercedes struggling. And I think they have a good end-to-end integration, but it's not enough for their business model to sustain with all the showrooms, etc. So companies will continue to reinvent themselves and to be on one way visible to the end user, the front side, and make sure that the back side is simply organized. Yeah.
I'm very happy that you say that H2H will be still and not 100% will be online. So thank you very much.